viewers, and welcome to newzimbabwe.com's Economic Insights program, which we hold every Thursday to unpack complex issues unfolding in the economy. This afternoon, we are hosting Mr. Helarious Ruyi, the Zimbabwe Domestic and Allied Workers Union Secretary General, to help us unpack some of the challenges which are being experienced by domestic workers in the country. This sounds to be a very rare topic, but I found it very interesting because this is a marginalized community whose concerns are rarely talked about. Welcome, Mr. Ruyi.
We welcome, Alois. Welcome, viewers.
So maybe to begin with, would you mind telling our viewers what Zimbabwe Domestic and Allied Workers Union stands for and specializes in?
Yes, thank you. Zimbabwe Domestic and Allied Workers Union is a union which represents domestic workers. By domestic workers, we mean those employees who are employed in private households to do duties like garden work, housekeeping, that is sweeping, cleaning the house, doing washing clothes and ironing, child minders, and also we have got other workers who look after the sick people or the elderly.
Okay, so
the allied part of it, it stands for those employees who are employed in private households to do jobs like family drivers or janitors at households, at the backyards.
Okay, so this is also a union which looks at the concerns which come up as a result of what is transpiring also around issues to do with the care workers, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so now, you see, this is a very rare topic which we've never really covered on this program, but we found to be very interesting because you are talking about a marginalized community, maybe marginalized according to our judgment, but also generally there's this tendency of not taking these issues seriously, which is why we decided to talk about issues concerning domestic workers. So now, what is the minimum salary currently being paid to domestic workers?
Yeah, domestic workers, now the government stipulated wage is 900 bond.
900 bond, which is an equivalent of US $10. Around US $10.
Around US $10, yes.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to say by $10, surely you wonder how they survive on $10 because that is like is slave wage, really. Cannot expect someone to work for a month and get that $10 US.
So this $10 covers all the four areas of workers which we represent, up to care workers like nurse aides.
No, that is the minimum wage.
Oh, that's just the minimum wage.
The great differentials is not much. It can be just $10, 10 bond. Okay. It's not much.
Okay.
It's not
so
much.
Have you engaged the government with regards to this matter?
Yes, we engaged the government. But government, you know, it has got its other problems with other workers. Majority of the employers are civil servants. So they've got their issues with civil servants. Of course, as a union, we are campaigning for a reasonable wage, a living wage. But the government has got the duty to make sure that, you know, domestic workers realize this decent work. That is a decent wage.
Okay. So, any strides that you have made so far? Maybe submitting a position paper to government or at the level of negotiation at any C level. What stage are you at?
Okay. We have got a position. Our position is of the 2011 position. You know, domestic workers were paid a minimum of $85 in October 2011. But now, see what they are being paid is $10, equivalent of $10, which is far. They are worse than their 2011 position. So we are saying it's better if we can maintain that position of 2011 of a minimum of $85.
Okay. But do you think this will be practical, considering that right now we are seeing teachers earning an equivalent of 140 US, 130 US, and these are the employers?
You see, that's the problem. But, in other countries, domestic work is work which is very important and it should be recognized. In other countries, it's very expensive to employ a domestic worker and they are paid handsomely. Why don't we also recognize this work of domestic work and pay them some decent wages?
Okay. So what have been the stumbling blocks in these negotiations? I see this trend persisting through the years, isn't it? It's coming through the years. We still have a similar problem. What really is the stumbling block in our country which is blocking this? Okay.
What I see is that the employers, because we have got a body, the wages and the salary advisory body, where the employers are being represented by MCOs, and the government will be there. Ourselves as trade union will be there. And that body will give recommendations on the wages. Then the government, the cabinet, has to give the final say. What we do is only to give the recommendation. As a trade union, we give the position. We want these workers to be paid in US dollar, because US dollar maintains the value, not what the bond notes. Okay. It's a problem. So, the employers, they have got their challenges, which they present to the government, and the government also is saying, we cannot allow these workers to be paid in US dollars. But we see, as a union, the only solution is to pay workers in US dollar. In US dollar. But or equivalent.
Okay. What I see now when these negotiations take place is that more focus is placed on work which is more respected according to the standards of our society. And don't you think that there is need to mainstream, to separate issues that concern domestic workers and present them separately? Because when you say the minimum wage should be around 14,000 Zim dollars, it might not necessarily be feasible for employers of domestic workers to pay that. And in the process, we find that such workers are easily ignored. Their issues are easily ignored. What do you think needs to be done then to improve this dialogue, which will result in better remuneration for the domestic workers?
Most employers, they understand and they appreciate, they recognize the work of these domestic workers. There are some employers who pay, for example, 100 US dollars or more. Okay. You see, those who can afford. Okay. It's because they appreciate the work the domestic workers are doing for them. And there are others who want to stick to the minimum wage. But serious employers, they have to take into consideration that these domestic workers have got aspirations like any other person. They've got children who are also going to school. They need to pay school fees. They are citizens as well. They come across these other issues, these other problems. For example, electricity prices has gone up. You see, the rates, whatever. They need to pay all those things.
So now moving to the issue of social protection, we understand that most workers contribute towards their pensions and so on. Do you have a similar setup within your sector?
Yeah, thank you, Alois, for that. That's one of the issues which is a challenge to the sector. Domestic workers are not covered by NASA. You see, National Social Security, they don't have any pension, whatever. You see, any scheme for that, they don't have that. Okay. No medical aid, whatever, they don't have. And also, we can come to this issue of maternity leave, benefits, whatever. Some employees are not paid the maternity benefits. Okay. You are aware that maternity leave in this country is 3 months. It should be with full pay. But some employees do not get, the domestic workers are not given the days or even the payment. Okay. You see, that's the challenge we are having. But yet, domestic workers, they are the most vulnerable employees. We are supposed to be covered by that, you see, security scheme, NASA.
Have you engaged NASA over that issue?
Yes, we engaged.
What has been the response?
We engaged them. The response has been that they wanted to make a survey to check to find out what other countries are doing,
Okay.
so that they can use the same method of implementing that.
Okay.
For your own information, domestic workers in other countries, they get such benefits.
Okay.
For example, in South Africa,
Okay.
they get that.
They've got pensions.
They go to, yes,
Okay.
they're covered. But
Okay.
here, they are not covered.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, there have been, quite a number of developments within the country's economy. Right now, we are heading towards the 2021 budget. There are consultations. And do you participate as well as the domestic workers towards such important economic issues?
Yes, we participate. We participate through our mother body,
Okay.
ZCTU.
Okay.
You see, Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions.
Okay.
We participate. But it's also important to call even ourselves individually as a union or as domestic workers to be part of that. Because if you see in the international fora, domestic workers, they are consulted for the issues. Like at the International Labour Organization, domestic workers are consulted for their conditions and whatever. I'm sure you are aware that there's Convention 189 for the domestic workers.
Okay.
They were consulted.
What does
and we
it state?
participate.
What are the contents of this convention?
Okay, this convention is about the decent work for domestic workers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It gives responsibilities to the government to make sure that there is decent work for these domestic workers.
Okay.
From back, if you remember very well, domestic workers were not considered as other employees. But because of that convention 189, they should be treated like any other workers. You see, not to say to look down upon them. No, they are workers like any other workers.
So, what will be your word like to our economic finance minister, Mthuli Ncube, and other key players within the economy of the country with regards to such issues?
Okay, I would say the Minister of Finance should also involve this domestic worker or the union to the meetings, so that we give them our issues for domestic workers. You see, what do you feel?
Okay. So now, well, maybe moving to another issue, how have these developments within our economy affected your sector? We've had a number of programs, transitional stabilization program. Right now, there's the National Development Strategy being implemented from January 2021. How has this whole legal framework or policy framework impacted on domestic workers?
Yeah, to be honest, domestic workers, they don't feel anything. They don't see anything good for them in such programs. They have not benefited from such programs, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So as we round off our program, what will be your last word? What will be your last word to the domestic workers in the country and the policy makers as well? Okay.
I will start with the policy makers. The policy makers must have heart. They should know that their sisters and brothers are working to support their families and their children. They must not forget them, because they are also helping in the development of the country economically. For anyone to go to work should come from a clean place, should wear ironed clothes, and you need security at home so that you can go and work there safely at work, because these workers are given other duties which are not recognized by the employers, like looking after the premises. If you leave your property without, if the employer leaves the property without someone there, thieves can make a party there. They can steal whatever, you see. But domestic workers, they are not paid for that.
Okay.
So government should know that these domestic workers are doing a great job, and they should be considered by giving them a better remuneration, and also can come up with other schemes to help them. For example, if they are not getting enough money, when they go to hospital, they can be exempted from paying, you see, if it's something like that, or to give some tax rebates to employers, so that employers can employ many domestic workers.
Okay.
That is directed to government. Then to the workers, domestic workers, I say we are in a struggle. Surely I'm aware that what you are getting are slave wages. But let's fight together. If we are united, one day we will achieve what we want to achieve. Unity is power. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you so much for attending this interview, Mr. Ruyi.
Okay, thank you. If you can give us more time of such programs, we will be very happy.
You'll be our regular guest here.
Okay.
So, viewers, thank you so much for following this program. For these and other programs, do not hesitate to visit our website, which is www.newzimbabwe.com, our online TV channel, New Zim TV, our Facebook page, newzimbabwe.com. Otherwise, have a pleasant viewing.